bounce in the frame? We should get 2 of these balls and we could bounce like out of sync the entire video long.
Please let's not. Hello! We are
Annie and Konstantin.
And you're watching another episode of
Updates!
And you remember we left off last week at the very exciting moment of starting the
crowdfunding campaign.
And this message comes to you directly live, behind the scenes of said crowdfunding campaign. So we had some initial support from a bunch of amazing and really cool people. Most of them people we're lucky enough to call our friends. And this is really a special thing because obviously the first thing you do when you start a campaign is you reach out to your immediate circle. And feedback has been very, very positive and very, very encouraging.
It's a very odd experience putting a project out there, not just because you want people to see it, but because you would like to fund it. We really just sit here and try to do our best with this project and try to do our best with this campaign, and we dance a lot every time a new contribution comes in, because no matter how big or small the contribution, it's just incredibly exciting that there are people out there who really like what we do, want to support it, and do. I don't know what to say. I don't have words. Just thank you so much.
So what we did last week is basically reach out to everyone we know and we thought would be interested in this campaign.
And so now we're going to start reaching out to everyone we don't know and think might be interested in this campaign. So the next week is going to be us writing everyone, every organization, every person of any sort of influence. This is exciting and terrifying and exciting again.
Besides that, we're trying to really build up a social media presence, and we see how this will work out for us.
I really like social media, and I like the dynamics, and I like how it works, but somehow, for the purpose of the life hacks, I haven't figured out how to use it yet. And it's not that we don't have enough stuff to share. I just never really figured out how to make that happen. We work on the videos and we put out the videos, but not much beyond that. And so now, as part of the campaign, we're really trying to, be a presence and be out there. And Konstantin has actually been the patron saint of the Facebook feed, which is really funny, because Konstantin is not the social media person of this dynamic. So, crowdfunding brings out new sides of you, I think, is what we're learning here.
And, of course, you dearly missed the epiphanies last week, so...
We'll do 2 today.
No!
So I loved the idea of crowdfunding ever since I learned about the concept, because there's a lot of power in that, and there's that direct exchange between the person making something and you. And I like using that for art, and I think we always knew that we were going to crowdfund a project at some point. And I think with the life hacks especially, it makes a lot of sense. But it's also really weird, because the depression and anxiety life hacks from the very start were a free project, easily accessible and for everyone. And they need to be. They have to be, because they're for you, they're for the world. And at first it was just a tiny little ridiculous project, and now it grew into this actual thing that actually matters to people. So we're crowdfunding in order to finance it, in order to finance what we're doing, and in order to, pay bills. And I'm not demanding that anyone contribute. I'm not making anyone contribute. I'm giving you the option to support this project to make it happen, which is actually really cool, but it still feels really weird. But because of all that, I'm also experiencing crowdfunding more intensely from the other side. I've been browsing projects and just looking at what other people are doing, and I'm coming across a lot of really cool stuff. There's a lot of really good ideas out there, and a lot of really great people doing really great things, and it's exciting. And I developed a huge appreciation for the $1 contribution. And I never contributed to anything with a small amount because I feel silly, because I can't actually help you. Your goal is, somewhere up there, and I have a few cents to spare. I'm sorry. But as the person on the other side seeing contributions come in, a $1 contribution means so much. Because it means, hey, I don't have the change right now, but I really love what you're doing, and I really want you to do it. And it's mostly symbolic, but it still helps, and it helps the momentum, and it helps the motivation, really. So I've decided I'm building a new habit. So every month I'm going to take a night and possibly a glass of wine. And I'm going to browse all of the crowdfunding sites and just see what I find. And I'm going to give whatever I can spare. It might be, $5 a month, and it might be 10 or 20 some others. And I'm just going to distribute them amongst projects. And if it's not projects, then it's going to be good organizations that, work for human rights and equality. And because it might be symbolic, but symbols matter. And it makes you feel really good too, I've found. Yes, that is my epiphany. I have a new hobby, and it's a really cool one, so if you're looking for a new hobby, I highly recommend it.
So I have a very special task in this campaign and in this project itself, because I never really had to struggle with serious brain weasels. The worst thing that mental health wise happened to me was a medium-sized burnout, which did some damage and which did throw me off, but I've never been really desperate. Like in my worst times, I was always aware that this sucks, I'm struggling right now, this is really bad, but this will pass. And in that, I was a lot luckier than most people struggling with depression. So this whole project, I come as a bit of an outsider. I don't have the same insights like Anne has, for instance. And it took me quite a while to come to a point where I can say, okay, I get it now. I kinda understand what's going on in your world. I've never experienced this, but I think I understand. And taking the fact that I, as a curious outsider who is involved emotionally in the subject, I get to understand it to a point where I'm like, holy fuck, I need to help you support this cause. I think this applies to many causes which don't affect you immediately, but through empathy you can understand it. And be it the rights of people with disabilities, or be it the struggles of people of color, be it the struggle of women for that matter. For me, being a white, able-bodied, heterosexual man, I won't ever be able to completely feel out and 100% understand what people who are not as privileged as me go through. But I don't have to. You get a pretty decent understanding by seeking out to people who are living with struggles you never had. I think it is very much possible, and that it is happening every day. And there are ways how we can foster this, how we can foster community, how we can foster empathy, because it works. Yes, that's what I got. This message comes to you directly live, behind the scenes of said crowdfunding campaign. It's crazy, man. What?
It's crazy, man.
It's crazy, but what else are you supposed to say?
I don't know what I anticipated exactly. But I anticipated you to say deeper things than it's crazy, man. Poetry or something deeply funny or something, and you just caught me off guard is all. It's crazy, man. Am I exhausting you?
Okay, so we can cut the entirety of this last 15 minutes.
Or use it as the random bit.
Hello!